Good morning. Welcome to Zoom with Czarny. Today is Friday, June 2nd. And in today's Zoom with Czarny, I'll be talking to the Liverpool Village candidates. They call themselves Liverpool Together. They're the Liverpool Democrats that are running for mayor, Stacy Finney, and Rachel and Melissa, who are running for town board. So stay tuned for that interview. There's a lot of stuff going on at the Board of Elections this week. We're getting ready for both the June primary and the June 20th village elections. This is actually quite a challenge for boards of elections throughout the state, as many of us have started to take over some of the village elections that are happening in June. We also have to prepare for our June primary as well. So we're preparing for two different elections at the same time. The Onondaga County Board of Elections actually covers the North Syracuse village elections, which I hope to be getting to a weekly wonk either Sunday or Monday. I'm running a little behind, and I'll tell you why on that. Well, because of this stuff too. But we do not run the Liverpool village elections, but we do assist with their machines and ballot creation. So we're doing that as well. Absentee ballots have started to go out for both the village elections and the June primary. So that's going to be a lot of fun as we start getting those back as well. So that's what's going on at the Board of Elections. We're still waiting to hear from the Assembly and Senate about any final bills that might get passed as session ends next week. For the some of the election legislation that we're hoping for. Yeah, I mean, that seems to be a lot that's going on. Oh, and independent nominating petitions ended this week. I talked about that at my commissioner in a car on Tuesday. And I'm actually prepping for a trip to Washington, D.C. Next week, Monday through Thursday. I'll be in D.C. On behalf of Issue 1, a national advocacy group of bipartisan election officials. I'm hoping to talk to the federal government like I've been talking with the state government about consistent and clear funding and protection for election workers. I'm going to do more about that on Monday. My commissioner in the car next week will be on Monday instead of Tuesday. And I don't think I'll be in a car because I'll be in DC. I've flown in at that point. So who knows where I'll be. But I'll be doing my weekly commissioner in the car then. So stay tuned for that. I'll look forward to talking to you throughout the week. But here is my interview with the Liverpool Village Democrats, Stacy Finney running for mayor, Rachel and Melissa running for town board, and enjoy their interview. Bye-bye. And we're back, and I'm very happy to bring you my three new friends who are running for village offices out in Liverpool, New York. As Liverpool is a village that runs elections in June this year, and so it's a little off year, but they have a mayor up and two village trustees, and we have all three of the Democratic candidates that are running on the Democratic platform for the first time in a generation that Democrats have been running out in the village of Liverpool. Stacy Finney, who's running for mayor, and Melissa Cassidy and Rachel Ciotti, who's running for village trustee. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on Zoom with Czarny.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Dustin. Happy to be here.
So, as I said, you're running for office, but this is your first time running for office, all three of you. So I think it would be good to get to know you. So we'll start with you, Stacy, and then I'll call on the other two as well, and we'll just cycle through. But Stacy, tell us a little bit about your background and yourself.
Yeah, definitely. My husband and I moved to the village of Liverpool with our two children about 12 years ago. We bought an older home. We love the older architecture, but what we also loved was the walkability of Liverpool. I wanted a setting where there were sidewalks. I wanted to be able to walk to cafes. We'd previously lived in the neighborhood of Strathmore, which we, to this day, I say is the hidden gem of the city of Syracuse. But as heartbroken as we were to leave that area, we feel like we truly landed in one of the best areas in all of central New York. And my background is in architecture and design. When I had my first child, I was a stay-at-home mom for many years and then got my degree in teaching. And I am currently an 8th grade art teacher at Stroud Middle School in Rome.
Well, if you're dealing with middle schoolers, Stacy, you should be able to handle village government.
Yeah.
It is a good skill set to have, let me tell you.
And Melissa, you're running for village trustee. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep, I was born and raised here in the village of Liverpool. My parents still reside in my childhood home on Sergeant Lane. I lived away for a number of years, and when my husband and I decided that we wanted to plant some roots, we wanted to come back to central New York so that we could be around our family. And I specifically requested, I should say demanded, that we were going to live in the village of Liverpool for exactly the reasons that Stacy just shared. I grew up going to Onondaga Lake Park every day. We walked every night as a family. And I wanted that for my children. So we came back here, and it's actually interesting. We bought the house that my grandfather built for my grandmother back in the late 40s, early 50s. So only my family's owned it. And so that's kind of fun and unique. And I work in philanthropy. I've worked in higher education and the arts field, doing philanthropy work for nearly 2 decades. And I've been on the zoning board for the Village of Liverpool for nearly a decade. And I, volunteer at Humane CNY as well. And I've done a number of other volunteer opportunities throughout the community.
Awesome. And Rachel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Rachel Ciotti, and I was born and raised in Worcester, Massachusetts. I lived in a lot of different cities around the Northeast. And about 10 years ago, I decided to move to the village of Liverpool. My husband was from Liverpool, and I had obviously spent a lot of time in Liverpool, and I just fell in love with it. It's such an adorable community, and I'm happy to say that the village of Liverpool is going to be my home for life. And so I live here with my oldest son, Joey, and I have Keely, who is 10, and Will, and they go to school down the street, and it's wonderful little community. Every morning I see my daughter get on her bike and ride her bike to school, and it's just so darn cute. And I'm really happy to live in the village, and that's one of the reasons I'm running, is because I want to make the village even better than it already is.
Awesome. Well, so all three of you obviously live in the village, and you got ties to the village. You've been there for a long time, but there are a lot of village residents who may not even know about village government, let alone want to run for it. So I think, what I'd like to ask you now is just, why are you running for village office? We'll start with you, Melissa, and then again, cycle right through. So Melissa, why are you running for village trustee?
So as I had just shared, I've been on the zoning board for 10 years, nearly 10 years. And for me, it's a natural progression. I'm ready for a change. And I truly care about our village. I care about its safety, the walkability of it. And I think it's a time to kind of also bring a new perspective to the village, as all three of us are moms, all three of us are professionals with very different backgrounds, and we just have some different ideas, thoughts. We collaborate well, and for me, I just thought it was the right time. I met 2 people who I think I partner well with, and it just seemed like the right time to make that transition from the zoning board to running as trustee.
That's awesome. And Rachel, why are you running for village trustee?
Yeah, sure. So I have always wanted to be involved in the community and give back and do community service. And for years, I have done that. I started, 15 years ago. I was a big sister in the Big Sister, Big Brother program. I've been very active with the Junior League in Massachusetts and the Junior League in Syracuse, holding a number of board positions, and love to volunteer at the kids' school or the PTO, help out my husband with Liverpool Little League. And so that's all been very rewarding and fulfilling, but it was time for me to do something different. And I thought that this was a really great opportunity to take my passion for the community, as well as some of my experience from working in corporate America, and really apply it to being a trustee. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm running. I figured I'm going to spend all this time giving back to the community. Let me give back to the community in my backyard, right? In this wonderful little village that we live in that I talked about before. I thought that was time for me to do that now that my kids are a little bit older. So that's the reason that I'm running.
Awesome. And Stacy, you're running for the top job, right? You're running for mayor of the Village of Liverpool. I think all three of these are open seats. But so is the village. There was a longtime mayor who decided not to run again, and so this, and so there's always a lot of attention to, a mayor of anything, let alone when it's an open seat. So, why did you decide to run for mayor of Liverpool?
Yeah. So, Melissa and Rachel both touched on the aspect of timing. For me, I am about to be an empty nester. I am totally shocked by this. They do say it is the longest days and the shortest years with children, and that is definitely true. Another aspect of it is I met two women who were running for trustee. They're friends of mine. I would never run against them for trustee. And I feel like because the three of us work together very well, we met prior to announcing our candidacy and trying to figure out which spot worked best for everyone. And what it came down to with me was I have the time. I don't have children at home. The position of mayor, though it is part-time, is still a big time commitment. Not having children at home, having a schedule where I can at least have a bit more flexibility within my day at work, and also be home pretty early. I'm home by 3 o'clock, even though I work in Rome. And my husband and I have lived here for years. We love the area, but we are hoping that with a few improvements to downtown, we can better pay, for example, the police department and the DPW, and really enhance our community in ways that we have a vision for.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. But you mentioned timing, and that kind of leads me into my next question, because village elections happen at a weird time. People don't, it's sometimes it's in November, but this village, and sometimes it's in March, but this village happens to be in June, which is actually the least amount of villages hold elections in June. So it's an odd time because it happens about a week before the actual June primary. So, what's it like to run for office in this weirdly timed spot? I mean, you have to remind people there's even an election going on. We'll start with you, Rachel. What has been your experience running for this June election?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked this question, because I can't tell you how many people that I've met that lived in the village for 10, 20 years that don't even know that the election is June 20th. I will repeat it again, June 20th. So I'm gonna ask my friends Melissa and Stacy to continue to repeat that date so we get it in everybody's head. But I think that's half the battle, is like trying to get everybody to remember that. And so we hosted an event at my home the other night to try to get signs, and the signs are out, and on top of the signs they have a great little banner that says please vote June 20th. So that it is a little bit weird. I think it's just trying to get people to know and to remember that date. And But I will tell you, Dustin, that I'm happy that it's June 20th this year, at least, because the weather's warm. So as I'm hitting doors in the next couple of weeks, I'll be happy that it's nice and warm out. But all kidding aside, June 20th is the date, and we'll continue to talk to our neighbors and friends about that.
June 20th. I'll repeat it too.
Okay, good.
Repeat it several times.
Isn't there some sort of rule where if you say something 10 times and it sticks in people's heads? So
right.
hopefully we can get to that 10.
Stacy, what's it like to run for office in June? I know you haven't run for office before, so it's not a direct comparison, but I know you've helped on campaigns. What is it like to run in a village election in June?
Yeah, so I have helped out on campaigns and supported various candidates in the past. Not only is it June 20th, but it is also noon to 9. I know for so many people, they go to vote before work, but that's not actually even a possibility here. It is definitely unique. Over my spring break, I made a point of reaching out to multiple small town mayors in the area and saying, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee or a cup of tea? And can we just sit and talk? And every single person that I met with was like, June 20th? Are you sure? And I was like, yep, I am. I am sure when the election is, believe it or not. But it is admittedly warmer, but it is a concern. I do hope that people do remember to go out and they don't come home from work and just want to barbecue. They do want to do their civic duty and walk to vote, because not only is June 20th the date of our election, it is the date of the former corporate challenge run, now called the workforce run. And anyone who lives in the village knows it is chaos. So I reached out to Village Hall to see if they could, designate voter-only parking. Hopefully they do, but we do have a walkable village, so you could walk to vote. So.
And Melissa, again, June 20th, noon to 9. Important to remember that the Board of Elections doesn't run this election. The village clerk runs this election, so they're the ones who choose the date and the time periods. But Melissa, what is it like to run for office in June? And have you had the same experience? Are you, having to remind people about when the election is as well?
Yeah, so I know what I'm doing on June 20th, starting at noon. I will be voting. But yes, it actually, I think it is a struggle. I think even my past participation, suddenly you realize the village election was upon us, because you're not thinking in June. At least for me, I have school-age children, so I'm consumed this time of year with concerts and sporting events and end-of-the-year activities. So having a June election is quite tough. The nice weather has been a plus side of it, in terms of it's really rallied our neighbors to come out and meet us. So that is a positive side of having a June election. But I do think it has been a little bit of a struggle. It's not really top of mind of people. November, people are thinking election. That's what our nation does. So, and especially it starting at noon is another not great point. That's going to be hard for people. Stacy pointed out, people like to vote before they go to work in the morning. So this is going to be a little bit tough, but we're out knocking on doors, talking to our neighbors, reminding everybody that it's June 20th and it's noon to 9, and that yes, walk please, because we know parking will be tough given that it's the workforce run.
Yeah, and so now I kind of want to talk about what do you think is either going right in the village that you want to amplify, or things that you would like to see altered in the village as well, because running for office there's a reason why you're out there, and you're all dedicated to your community. But obviously we don't get in government always just to do the same thing that has been happening. So Stacy, we'll start with you. What are some of the things that you want to address, and what are some of the things that you think either Liverpool could be doing better or doing great and you want to amplify?
So part of what kind of prompted me to run was learning that, the pay rate for our DPW and our police department, which everybody cherishes, is not the greatest. And how can we fix that? How can we make it so that they are better paid, but our taxes do not go up? Because that's a big thing. I know personally, I don't want to pay any more taxes already. We all hear, as soon as you mention that you live in the village, people's first response is, oh, I love the village, but those taxes. Personally, I don't mind paying the taxes. I think it's money well spent, but I don't want them to go up. So my hope is to work to enhance the downtown area, bring in more business, bring in, just more people even. You've got all of those people walking along the parkway, and all they have to do is come up one block to support our businesses and put money into our economy and make it so that we can, keep the wonderful employees that we have in the village at both the DPW and the police department.
And Rachel, same question to you. What are some of the things that you think the village is doing right, or you things you want to get changed if you're successful in running for office?
Yeah. And so I want to start off by just saying that we live in a very good place, right? You heard us all talk about how much we love it and how much we love our community, right? And so I want to make it clear that my intention is not to dramatically change anything. However, there's some opportunity for some improvements, and some of the areas specifically that I want to inspect and I have passion around are the safety of the community and the walkability, right? We walk to the coffee shop, we have the parkway, we have children running around. We want to make sure that continues to improve. Another piece is kind of looking at some of the existing infrastructure. So the website, the trash, and, just some of the things that we've done. I don't necessarily need to change it right away, but I want to look into it. I want to understand, are there improvements that can be made that help us all better connect as a community? Also, we have a really cute little downtown, and it's been improved over the past couple of years. The current mayor and board have done a nice job, and I think there's more opportunity to build upon that and take that to the next level. But I think all of that, those are some of the ideas, but all of that can't be done without really talking to our neighbors and talking to the community and getting everybody involved. And that's one of the things that I really loved about running for office. In the past couple of months, is like talking to my neighbors, seeing what's on their mind, and getting a feel for, hey, what's really most important. The other piece that I'm super passionate about, and this probably comes from years of working in corporate America, is using data and insights to support change, right? And so, yes, you want the feedback from neighbors, but I also want to look at the financials behind it, right? And I want to look at the data and the statistics to see what's the right choice. And a combination of the two, I think, makes for some really great suggestions on what should be done in the village. So those are some of the things that I'm kind of thinking about, and some of the things that I know I can bring to the table based upon my experience.
And Melissa, what are some of the things that you either think the village is doing great, or you want to address when you get into office?
Yeah. So Rachel and Stacy really nailed it. We, live in a great community, and we're really lucky to live here. And again, they both covered some of the issues that we want to address and look at. And I guess I'll approach this question a little bit differently. I think for us, we're bringing a new perspective. We're bringing a different voice, a different experience. The three of us have different experiences, and you know, in my professional background, there comes to a point where it's good to bring in a new voice, and where it's good to bring in somebody who has a different background, who may look at something differently, because when you come together and collaborate, you make the final product that much better. And I think that's what we're trying to do. You know, many of the people that have been on the board for a number of years, and that is wonderful and that's great, and we thank them for their service. But the three of us have come together, and we have some really strong ideas, as both of them shared, and we have a strong professional background, and we volunteer in different parts of our community, and we can bring all those experiences together and collaborate with our partners and our constituents, and come up with a final great product to make our community even better.
Yeah, that's why you're running for office. You're running for office to make your community better. That's why everybody runs for office. Nobody's getting rich off village offices. It's not, you know, it's not a high profile office. As you said, a lot of people who live in the village don't even know about village government, not just when it's elected, but that they have a government at all that they can address their grievances with. And so just the fact that you're running competitive elections in the village of Liverpool is important. And of course, you know, a few weeks back, I did a weekly walk focusing on the village of Liverpool, showing how it's changed over the last 10 years. And you had an amazing caucus that I happened to be at that, you know, you had 50 people show up, you know, to put, you know, you on the ballot on the Democratic line. You're not running as Democrats, you're running as village residents, but that's a mechanism to get on the ballot. So just having competitive elections, I think, is going to let people know about village government as well, and that there's a choice out there. But you know, I got out of order here, so I'm going to start with you, Melissa, on the last question, because I got a little out of order somehow. It's hard for me to keep three things, you know, but we're going to go to the last question, and that's the question I always like to end with, which is, what haven't we talked about? So this is your free form. You can talk. You can talk about anything, campaign related, yourself, whatever. Floor is yours.
Yeah, so I guess for me, one of the biggest points that I wanted to share with people is that where I stand on, you know, national politics doesn't impact where I stand in the village. And personally, I don't think village politics should be about party, but I'm grateful for the support that the Democratic Party has shown me during this experience, during this critical steps. I would definitely have made mistakes through this process if it wasn't for the support of that party, you know, in terms of, you know, gathering signatures at a certain date, turning them in at a certain time, you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But I think when I've been talking to my neighbors, it doesn't matter that I'm a Democrat, and it doesn't matter if you're a Republican. That's not a national stage. What matters is what we want in our backyard. We want the same things. We want, you know, it to be safe to cross 370, cross the Oswego Road, to cross Vine Street. We want our kids to be able to ride their bikes up and down our roads without having to worry about traffic coming and zooming by and not stopping and looking. We want to make sure that our neighbors are taken care of. We want to make sure that those who provide services to our community can earn a living wage and, you know, provide for their families. So I just want to clarify that, because I know we have our signs out and some people have been like, well, I'm a Republican. And this doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. This is a family here in the village of Liverpool. And we just happened to run a Democratic Party because we needed their advice in terms of how to get the signatures and how to file the paperwork, because it's not easy.
All right, Rachel, your turn. What haven't we talked about yet?
Gosh, we talked about a lot of things. You know, I guess I'll just close out by asking for support, and asking to be open-minded, and, you know, have some change and some new faces. And I'll tell you, the one thing I've learned, I've worked with Stacy and Melissa over the years in different capacities, and we get stuff done. And I see it even more as we plan some of these events and we have meetings. We can be very efficient. We can be very productive. And I know that that will transpire in our board and mayoral positions, that we'll be able to get stuff done and help better support the community. So I ask for your support on June 20th from noon to 9 in the Village Hall. And also, you're going to see us around the neighborhood, right? We're going to have some candidate meet and greets. We're going to be campaigning. We're going to be knocking on doors. We're going to be at different events. And so please, if you have a question or there is something on your mind, let's talk about it, right? Like, let's get to know each other better and continue to tighten and build this little community that we have.
Awesome. And Stacy, you're the top of the ticket, so we're ending on with you. What haven't we talked about? What do you want the people to know?
Well, I loved both, Melissa's point about, this is village politics. It's not about Republican or Democrat. For years, I was a registered independent. I was raised by very hardcore Republicans, very hardcore. So I loved that point, and I loved Rachel's point about people talking to us. Our greatest asset is hands down the people of this community. And it has been so wonderful getting out, talking to people. And I ask that people just don't be shy. If you see me out, come up and talk to me. I was doing construction on my front porch, and I looked absolutely horrible on Sunday. And the nicest guy was walking by, and then he stopped and he's like, "Are you Stacy Finney?" And I was like, "I am, actually." And I just had a great conversation with him. I was able to learn new things about his perspective on the village, things that I had not considered before. And that is what we love. We love hearing from people. We do have a Facebook page. If you're not on Facebook, definitely let us know. We can shoot out emails about events that are going on. I vainly attempted to link our Instagram page to Facebook. I was not successful. Maybe my 8th graders can do it. But yeah, reach out to us via Facebook. Follow us on Liverpool Together. By the way, make sure it is on this side of the pond, not in England. There is another Liverpool Together Facebook page. And we'd love to connect. That is the biggest thing. We love hearing from, like I said, our greatest asset, the people.
Well, Stacy, Rachel, Melissa, thank you so much for coming on Zoom with Czarny. And I'll say it once again, June 20th election, noon to 9, Village Hall.
Wait, was that noon?
Noon to 9 p.m., Village Hall. Watch out for the former corporate challenge. So maybe it's a walkable neighborhood if you can. It might be easier for you to get down to Village Hall and cast your vote.
Roxy wants to make a debut.
Oh, well, we love having dogs on the program. They're wonderful.
He's like, wrap it up. I want to go walk the village streets.
That's right. And get some votes while you're doing it. So go Liverpool Together is your Facebook page. I'll put a link in the show notes. Thank you once again for coming on. And people in Liverpool, go out and vote and support your village government. And I hope you support these ladies as well. And thank you. And that was my interview with Stacy Finney, running for village mayor of Liverpool, along with Rachel and Melissa, who are running for town or village trustee. So check them out. Go to my web. Go to the information on my webpage to find out a little bit more about them. They have a Facebook page, Liverpool Together. And also a fundraising link. I'll throw that into the show notes as well. That way, if you want to support them, that's great. We've, this is the first contested election in 20 years in Liverpool. So, and Liverpool has been a changing community. So we're bound to see on June 20th, noon to 9 is where the polls are open there. And we're bound to see whether that changing demographic will affect the village elections or not. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.